That would be me. Big thanks to all who've made this possible, to my kith and kin and colleagues and my students who teach me well. Having spent some years learning from some very rural dwelling people and animals they live with in East and West Africa, in Native America, especially in the Northwest coast, and in libraries and archives, triangulating. And these things kind of over decades, in ways that are just coming together. I suggest today that we try to link up ethnology, my home base, the comparative study of cultures, with ethology, my emerging interest in last couple decades, the study of animal behavior and minds, and also with a bit of emerging brain science, to the extent I can understand it, as others are now making it much more available. So trying to connect some dots to put together the outward look and the inward look. But first, let's go back. Humans are a very young species, well under 2 million years old in our current form, whereas orcas, or killer whales as they're called, maybe about 5 to 10 million years. Cockroaches, 250 million years. Horseshoe crabs, 450 million years. Now, my question is, how likely are we to last as long as them and thrive and flourish if we keep behaving as we've been? That is, with our presumptions about our place, our prominence, and our dominion. With our animal insults for fellow humans, disrespecting both. Our neglect of both animal likenesses to us and their superior abilities. Our treatment of other species, rebounding and redounding to our own harm. Our inventions, our invasions, and our exterminations. Will we last like some of them? Will we last like foraging people with their 99% of human history? Or might there be something we could learn from them? I'd like to make a pitch today for reversing a human-centered myopia on human flourishing, especially with respect to learning from people who've really lived with them and indeed, ironically, hunted them for a very long time, that we learn from those people's origin stories, which tend to show great respect indeed for animals of lots of kinds. And indeed, some of them, as will be familiar to Darwinian evolutionists, actually say we diverged from them or they became us. They appear in artistic designs, including spectacular ones in cultural revival movements among some of these people in distant places, and in contemporary rites and ceremonies. Well, many kinds of animals outdo us, outperform us in their own ways, in echolocation, like sonar, in navigation over distance, like the geese or the pigeons by the river, or in memory or forgiveness. So is the humane really just human? It's looking less and less. We use and abuse many kinds of animals, says slide 3. Yeah, there we go. There's just one or two ways. But we speak ill of other humans, toward the bottom now, using selected animal terms. Sometimes the same animals we've domesticated and depend on, very, very often indeed. Chicken out, pig out, and other terms like vermin. These metaphoric habits are treacherous. They activate long evolved limbic systems and responses. They harden our attitudes toward animals and each other in feedback loops. The feedback ramifies further into our environmental effects. The most inventive species is the most invasive species. But there are things we can do about it, I'm going to suggest. using our forebrain, especially the part of our heads that's most recently evolved and that matures latest. We can remember that we're only a young species and a dangerous one. We can use our human peculiarity, our that frontal cortex, especially maybe parts like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. We can watch what we put into our mouths and where it comes from and what comes out of them, minding our metaphors. We can triangulate among cultures whose ways of life have lasted far longer than our own. And we can even use our tools and toys, our rules and regulations, our special human accomplishments of orality, literacy, cybercy. We can open our ears to foraging people. We can reweave our disciplines. We can listen to grandmothers, their animals, and their moral tales. Isn't it time to reconnect? Thanks.